YouTube, Quinn Wade coming to y'all with that basketball analysis on analysisplayground.com and on YouTube. We're going to talk about NBA news just for Thursday. The draft second round happened today, and it was nothing really crazy that ended up happening. We do know that the Denver Nuggets, they ended up trading Reggie Jackson, three second rounders to the Hornets. Reggie Jackson was a big part of the reason why they won a championship. He also just picked up his $5.25 million option with the Nuggets in the 24-25 season. Jackson also appeared in 82 games, which you don't really see that often, but he was a guy that was able to do it. He did average double figures off the bench, 10 points, 1.9 rebounds, 3.8 assists in just 22 minutes. So that's high volume scoring, really good production. This is what you want to see out of a guy that will be considered a role player, especially in low minutes. 22 minutes is not that much, but he was very productive in his role, backing up Jamal Murray and guys like Caldwell Pope, and especially because they lost Bruce Brown, last year too. He was able to step up and help them have a successful season and also have a decent playoff run where he stepped up in a lot of moments. Just remember, Jamal Murray is expected to sign a 4-year, $200 million extension. This is a guy that's huge part of their team. He's the pick and roll maestro with Nikola Jokic. He's their clutch guy that can make the shots. And he was drafted to be this. Murray averaged 21 points, 4 rebounds, and 6.5 assists in 31 minutes over 59 games last season. You obviously want him to get healthier, especially after he destroyed his knee a couple years ago. And it seems like he's getting back to that old Murray, but he still has that other level to hit. I don't know if he can hit that now because of the injury always draining him and always causing, him to miss, just so he can, not miss majority of his career because of it. Just taking care of the knee and making sure it's in the right hands is something that's important to extending your career, even for your own benefit. And I think Denver has did a great job of that. But I do like what I have seen. One of the biggest free agents is still having a lot of talk is Paul George. Will he be a Sixer? Will he go to Orlando Magic? Will he be a Spur? Will he be a Golden State Warrior? Just remember, the Clippers have the cap space. They know him best. They have the best area for him to get the role that he needs to. He's still chasing that top 100 all-time player type of list, trying to get to 20,000 points, still trying to get the steals and the rebounds and the playoff numbers, which the Clippers does offer. He is going to have more freedom to do what he wants with the Clippers, as is only really him and Kawhi Leonard that they're really committed to the last 5 seasons. And they say they don't really want to give him 4 years, but they're not too far from a deal. They also are not that close to making one right away. But at least we know what Paul George wants. At least we know what he's trying to get. And at least we know how you can get the conversation started. Kentavious Caldwell Pope actually declined his $15.4 million option with the Nuggets, so he will become a free agent. A lot of people want this guy. He did shoot above 30% from three. He ended up shooting 40% on three-pointers, and he's one of the best defenders still in the league. The Hornets are interested in re-signing Miles Bridges for the same reason. We rather go with the for sure type of player that we know fit and wants to be here than go out and gamble on somebody that doesn't. Well, he has a 23-24 season, where he was able to average some decent numbers like 21.7 rebounds, 3.4 assists in 37 minutes. He's young. He's hungry to prove himself, and in 69 games he was able to do that, and they feel the same way about Miles Bridges in Charlotte, so they looking to give him a deal. Bridges do have a no trade clause in his contract, so he has a say so in how things will go about in a trade if it does need to be there. Some draft day trades. Raptors acquired Davion Mitchell, Sasha. They also got the number 45 pick from the Kings for Jalen McDaniels. This is a deal that's very small. Davion Mitchell was known as a guy that can defend and put a lot of effort and energy on that end of the court, but can score a little bit too. And Sasha just a young prospect Same like having a 45th pick in the second round, you're going to get somebody that might be a junior or a senior or a guy that's one dimensional that can extend his abilities in the future. And Jalen McDaniels is one of those guys that means a lot for that reason, because the trade opens up a roster spot for the Kings and gets them under the luxury tax, and the team is still going to be competitive regardless, even if they lose this guy. But Mitchell did average 5 points, 1 rebound, and 1.9 assists in 15 minutes. So he was a productive guy over 72 games last year that he played with the Kings. And after that, his minutes has been going down. His playing time and fit has been going down for the Kings, and he was the most cuttable player on that roster. But Davion Mitchell is eligible for a contract extension this offseason and becomes a second draft player for the Raptors. I think that you can definitely get his deal done easily. He's not highly demanded. He's not highly recruited too much, and you can get a cheap deal with him done just based off numbers and averages and how his career has went so far. Just getting a seventh, eighth, or ninth type of player on your roster is important, and I think that that's why they prioritized Davion Mitchell and got that deal done during the draft. And Sasha, he averaged 5 points, 2 rebounds in 12 minutes over 42 games. Obviously, he wants a bigger role potentially, or he wants to be able to show himself a little bit more. And obviously, with the Raptors, he couldn't do that. So we'll see what happens with that in the future. The Jazz don't intend to trade Lauri Markkanen. I think that that's huge. He was one of the biggest risers, talent-wise and brand-wise and play-wise. And it's good that they made that investment to get him to where he is today. So it's good to keep him. Eric Gordon actually declined his $3.4 million option with the Suns. He's expected to receive interest from multiple contenders too. I think that this is smart. Like, they had scorers, not really shooters, and they didn't really need Aaron Gordon that much because they had Grayson Allen and Hoyce O'Neal and guys like that. And it ended up making more sense to get rid of one to try to fill that spot with somewhere else if you're looking at it from the Suns' perspective. Also, it's a team like the Lakers and Minnesota Timberwolves and the Milwaukee Bucks that's interested in giving him, the money that he's interested in, and it's not going to be an expensive price because he's just a solid player. And then when you look at the draft, it was just very minimum when I look at the draft in the second round. Players that's going to make a huge, crazy impact. When you look at the list, obviously Flipkowski was one of the centers that's able to, hit the mid range, hit the three, be a modern day scorer / rebounder for the next team he goes to. He ended up going to the Jazz. Magbo to the Raptors. He was one of the reasons why that trade happened, because they drafted another guy that's cheap enough and has some upside. He actually went 31, and Kyle Filipowski actually went 32, so they went early in that second round. They was the best players available to some people, and they obviously showed that by getting drafted. Tyler Smith goes to the Bucks. People was trying to see who what the Bucks was going to get when it comes to young talent, because they're not that young, and they've been going the veteran route. But, the younger players are cheaper, and they can have a little bit of a jolt of energy sometimes, and sometimes that's needed. Johnny Furphy, he was another guy that I liked going into the second round, and he got picked up by the Pacers from the Spurs. And I feel like he can be a decent impact player on a team that has a lot of guys that's young and ready to play. And I feel like that's what the Pacers are all about, and they add another guy that can do that. I would say A.J. Mitchell is a good, solid pickup for the Thunder from the Jazz, from the Knicks, to get that pick to be available for the Thunder. And they like what they see out of him. We'll see if he can be a huge player for them and in the future. And then you just look at a lot of these other players. They look like they can be solid scorers, or guys that can defend, or guys that can rebound and put the ball in the basket. A lot of them have the size, they have the bodies, they have what it takes to be great in this league. But can they be all stars? Can they be superstars? You don't really see it that often in the second round. They usually be complementary players. I did a lot of breakdowns lately showing you that your cap might be a Joe Johnson, your cap might be a Al Horford or Chris Bosh, since a lot of them are small forward, power forwards. You can be a Brandon Ingram, a guy that can make an all-star team and also be, a quality role player that people respect and still be a starter and still achieve those high level goals that can contribute to you making the Hall of Fame. And you can also just be a guy that just can have the work ethic and the know-how to be able to make an impact, and then your role increases, and then you just do it from day to day, game to game, and that just how you become successful in the league, by working your way up and accepting that as long as I get a chance to play in the NBA, as long as my dream come true that I played in the NBA, now it's about getting more out of this stint since I'm still in the NBA. And if you have that type of mentality, all I can say is it makes a lot of sense, because that's what most second rounders got to feel. They get a little low and a little depressed because they didn't get their dreams to come true faster, but they realize that they still have the same opportunity as these first rounders, and they can still make an impact on the NBA, and they can also let their own touch on the NBA by just deciding to use it as a mentality of, I gotta do more, I gotta put more work in, I gotta push myself more, and I also gotta have a lot of understanding the business side of the game, but also understanding how to improve my game and take it to another level. I done seen a lot of players be very, very raw, very, very unskilled, and been able to put in the work over 2 to 3 years to get exactly to where they need to be. Most of these guys gonna get two-way contracts. Most of these guys not even gonna get guaranteed 3-year contracts or 4-year contracts, but it just use it as a reason to keep putting the work in and not being comfortable is the mentality that y'all gotta have. Like, it don't really matter where you get drafted at. It don't even matter sometimes if you undrafted. Moses Malone was a perfect example of that. Being a 3-time MVP, being an NBA Finals champion, living that lavish life, living that Hall of Fame life, living that one of the greatest players' life, and was drafted, was undrafted. And even Nikola Jokic, he's a second rounder, made the All-Star team, knew his role, became a dominant player by putting himself in position to be that, even though it didn't look like it at first. Draymond Green is a guy that defended and knew his game, knew what he could and couldn't do, and got the best out of the team that he had drafted with, and became an all-star, became an all-NBA defender, and that's what we knew he could be, and he pushed it to the highest level and became a great pickup and, a champion multiple times over. And Klay Thompson is the same. I'm going to be the greatest shooter that I can be. That's always going to give me a place in the NBA, and it is about, adding to that to be a better player, and that's how he became an all-star too in the past. So it's avenues and routes that you can go even in the second round, even if you got undrafted, to still reach your goal and still reach your play. Now, I'm sorry if I didn't mention your name. I'm not trying to really cover the second round because it is one of those rounds where a lot of these guys not going to stick. A lot of these guys not going to be in the league long term. A lot of these guys are going to have high turnover, or they're going to go to the G League, or they're going to be fighting to stay in the league. But their goal was to make it to the NBA. Their goal was to play in the NBA, not to be mentioned on this channel. So, different goals and everything. But I'm proud of y'all. I'm happy y'all got drafted. I'm happy day 2 is out. I'm happy some of these guys did get picked up eventually, and I'm glad that y'all dreams are coming true. As a fan of the game, I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be rooting for you, whether you're on my team, my favorite team or not. And I'm just going to be happy that, I seen the moments by watching the draft today and yesterday, and I'm just proud of these guys chasing their dreams. Other than that, comment, like, subscribe, and share. Quinn Wade, coming to y'all with that basketball analysis, signing out on Analysis Playground, and see you guys later.